Hello everyone, today we're looking at Acustica Audio's brand new Clipper plugin, Fire the Clip. So today I'm going to use Fire the Clip on multiple sources, including the master bus, and hopefully this will help you figure out if this is a plugin that you should add to your plugin arsenal or not. So let's go. Acustica Audio's new Fire series are plugins that are designed to be super easy to use, but that also give you amazing quality. And Clipper plugins to me are very interesting because they can do a lot of things, but they're doing it in a very specific way. Now this sound can be perceived as saturation, it can be perceived as all-out distortion when driven hard, and it can also be perceived as compression. But it's a very unique type of distortion or saturation or compression because it's dealing mostly with transients. So can a Clipper plugin impart color? I want to say a resounding yes. But unlike a color EQ, which is imparting color over the entire tone of a source, this is more coloration for transients. So I've been thinking of Clipper plugins as coloration for transients, and it's really helped me in how I use Clipper plugins. So without further ado, let's jump into this plugin and I'll show you what it sounds like. So this is Fire the Clip, and again, this is designed to be super easy to use but give you great results very quickly. So let me just take you through some of the settings. So at the top of the plugin here, you can see the 4 different clipping modes available, and these are all different algorithms created by Acustica Audio. First you have STD, and this mimics the behavior of a traditional clipper. Next you have Acu1, and this is a clipping algorithm by Acustica with very low aliasing. Next you have Acu2, which is a true analog clipper in the digital domain with unfolding and therefore zero aliasing. Lastly, you have the eco setting, and this is a low CPU consumption mode. Right here you have your oversampling, and today I used 16 times oversampling on every track that I ran it through, but this thing can go all the way up to 1,000 times oversampling. Over here you have your gain reduction meter, and I want you to notice that this is measured down to this line right here in 0.10ths of a decibel. So right here, this is -1 dB, and this is amazing for master bus and getting very precise amounts of compression or gain reduction. But then it extends all the way down here to -5. The knob in the middle, as you may have guessed, is gain plus or minus. Down here you have a slider for soft knee, and then you can slide in between and all the way up to a very hard knee. And your in button here can change from just giving you -5 or +5 to 20, which allows you to go down to -20 as far as reduction and up to +20 of gain boost. You also have 3 settings under ceiling. You have off and you have 0, which forces an output ceiling of 0 dB. And lastly, you have TP, which stands for true peak mode. In your output, you have 0, and then you also have -1. And if you have this on your master bus and you're going to be sending the song to Spotify or a streaming service, I recommend you have that at -1. And then lastly, your meter can be changed from peak mode or RMS mode. So I thought the best way to demonstrate this plugin was to use it inside of a session. So I'm using it on multiple sources inside this session, and I'm also using it on the master bus, and I discovered something very amazing with it on the master bus, and I'm going to demonstrate that toward the end of this video. So the first thing I'm using it on here is the kick drum, and one of the problems with modern day listening devices is so many people are listening to music on their phones or on their iPads or on their laptops. And if you don't have a great snap on your kick drum, it just absolutely won't be heard on all of those devices. And this one really did something special on the top of this kick drum and gave it that bite and gave it that snap that I'm going to want so that people can hear it on sources that don't reproduce bass well. So important in today's world. So let me first play the kick without Fire the Clip, and then I'll pop it in and show you what it did. Now with Fire the Clip. Wow, I love what that did to that kick drum. That just gave some beautiful color for that kick transient, and now I have a kick drum that sounds punchier, it sounds dirtier, and it's gonna cut through, especially on all those systems that don't reproduce bass. Next, I used Fire the Clip on this little drum loop, and I really wanted some more bite, some more character, some more saturation, and Fire the Clip just nailed it on this. So let me play you the clip first without Fire the Clip, and then I'll pop it in. Now with Fire the Clip. So that brought out some beautiful coloration, and it really just made that loop pop and sound more like a record. Next we have a bass track, and if you'll notice, I'm using different algorithms on these sources, and I just spent some time going through the different algorithms, and they each sound a little unique, and I found them all useful. But on this one, my favorite was Acu2, which is the true analog clipper. So I used clipper in this instance to get some serious bite on this bass guitar. So let me play it in bypass, and then I'll pop it in. So Fire the Clip can do wonders on bass sources. And again, it'll give you saturation and distortion, but it's going to give you a different type of saturation and distortion than you would get from using a distortion box, because again, it's dealing with the peaks. So when you drive this plugin, you can absolutely get some beautiful saturation and distortion. But if you notice, that saturation is so smooth. So that tells you what happens when you drive this thing is, yes, it can break up, but it breaks up in a very pleasant way. Next, I used it on a guitar track. So first, here's the track with no clipping. Now with clipper. I love what it did to that guitar, and it's a little more subtle than the other examples, but if you go back and you compare the two examples, what it actually did really nicely on this source was compress the guitar very nicely, and it made the transients more exciting. So there's just so many things that you can do with this very powerful plugin. Next, I'm using Fire the Clip on a vocal. And using clipping on vocals can absolutely be the secret sauce that makes the vocal more exciting, makes it poke through more, and makes it sound just more like a record. So first with no clipping, and then I'll pop it in.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world.
So you can hear it bringing the vocal more forward, and you can hear it compressing the vocal in a pleasing way. And just for fun, let's do a pass where I really drive that vocal hard so you can just see what it sounds like.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world.
So that sounds super dirty in this example, but you'd be surprised in a dense mix sometimes how dirty you have to make something to get it to cut through. Now, before I show you what Fire Clip can do on the master bus, I'm going to play all the instruments that we just listened to, but I'm going to play them all together. And I'm going to do a pass with no clipping, and then I'm going to do a second pass volume matched with clipping. So listen carefully to the differences in the two passes.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours. Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
It's punchier, it's cleaner, it's more exciting, and it sounds more like a record. Let me do another pass, and I'll pop in and out of bypass.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
Lastly, I want to show you this on the master bus, and there's a couple extraordinary things I want to show you. But using Ulean loudness meter, I want to show you just how loud you can get this thing without the mix falling apart. And obviously that's the secret. We don't want to make things loud if it's going to cause things to sound distorted and fizzy and makes the mix fall apart. The key is if you can drive something hard and everything stays together, and in fact maybe even glues together a little bit more, that's huge. So let me do a pass and you can see what's happening in the meter.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
So I'm getting all the way down to -7, and the mix still sounds powerful, punchy, and exciting. It doesn't sound distorted, and it's not falling apart. And that's probably more than I would normally push something, but I really wanted to push it just to show you what it can do. And especially I wouldn't push it that hard if it was going to be sent to streaming service. But the point is, you can push this thing hard, and it still sounds amazing. Just for fun, let me go up even a little bit more and let's run another pass.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
Wow, I've never pushed anything that loud, especially something that I've sent out. But again, it didn't fall apart. Starting to get a little bit more crispy, but it still sounds good. And so for those of you that are really trying to get things super loud, this does the trick amazingly. Now, the last thing I want to show you truly amazed me. I did 2 different prints of that section of the song. So in the first print, I used Ozone Maximizer, which is a great final stage limiter that I love and I use often. And I set the threshold to -4.5, as you can see, and I did a pass. So I did a pass without Fire the Clip, just using Ozone with the threshold set to 4.5. On the second pass, I took Ozone Isotope out and I ran a pass of Fire the Clip in the AQ1 mode with 4.5 dB of gain. So I'm really trying to gain match the 2 plugins. And I want you to hear the difference in these 2 printed files. So first, if we just look at these 2 audio clips, they almost look identical. So the one that's labeled limiter here is Ozone. And if I switch over to Fire Clip, that's the Fire Clip. They almost look identical. Let me go back to Ozone. And let me go back to Fire Clip. But the difference in the sound is quite amazing to me. So let me play first the Ozone clip and then I'll switch over to the Fire Clip. So here's first Ozone.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
Now Fire Clip.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
Now to my ears, Fire Clip just did such a better job with those transients. The kick sounds punchier, it sounds more exciting. The mix to me sounds louder with Fire Clip, and that's one of the benefits of using a soft clipper is you can get perceived loudness without actually making it louder. And overall, it just sounds more like a record to me. And again, I love Ozone Maximizer. I use it all the time. But using Fire the Clip now has me on future mixes wanting to evaluate if instead of using a limiter at the final stage, I'm using just a clipper, or maybe at least I'm using them in conjunction with each other, which I know is what a lot of mastering engineers and mix engineers do. Let me play it again, and the first half of that section will be the limiter, and the second half of the section will be Fire the Clip, and I'll have it on the screen when it changes.
Pulled like a magnet, I've been pulled into your world. Every thought I held captive, captivated till I'm yours.
So hopefully that helped you figure out if this plugin is right for you or not. I'm personally really excited about this plugin and excited to really try more experimentation with it, especially on my master bus. If you liked this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. That helps me out so much. And also subscribe to this channel, turn on that bell for notifications. I put new videos out every single week. And feel free to make yourself a coffee and just hang out on my channel for a little longer. YouTube recommends this video for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.